Good morning, everyone. This webinar offers closed captioning. To enable closed captioning, click on the live transcript button on the bottom of your screen and choose your preferred method. Welcome to the City of Chicago Department of Business Affairs and Consumer Protection, BACP webinar. We have adapted our regular business education workshops at City Hall into these webinars until further notice. Please note any website or email that I mentioned will be posted in the chat box. For those seeking business licensing assistance, you can visit the Small Business Center at City Hall or call 312-74-GO-BIZ. Also, business licenses can be applied for or renewed online at chicagobusinessdirect.org. If you are part of the BACP Entrepreneur Certificate Program, you can get credit for joining this webinar by sending an email to bacpoutreach@cityofchicago.org. If you want to learn about the program, please visit chicago.gov/business education. Also, this webinar is being recorded and will be available at youtube.com/ChicagoBACP. I will post all the information mentioned in the chat box. We encourage attendees to ask questions. Please use the chat box to send your questions. There will be a Q&A session at the end of the presentation. Please note that the views, information, and opinions expressed during this webinar are solely those of the presenter and do not necessarily represent the official policy or position of the Chicago Department of Business Affairs and Consumer Protection or the City of Chicago. And today's webinar will be how to obtain a pop-up user or pop-up host business license presented by Isa Orduno with the BACP Small Business Center. Welcome, Isa.
Good morning, everyone.
Isa, it seems like your screen has frozen. I suggest maybe closing or stopping to share and then resharing again. Okay, looks like the presentation is back up.
Good morning, everyone. Sorry about this technical issues here, but my name is Isa Orduno. I'm one of these one of the business consulting supervisors in Small Business Center. Today's seminar is going to be about how to obtain a pop-up user or pop-up host business license. We had this license for a couple of years now, since 2018. This license is retail and food entrepreneurs to obtain short-term business licenses to operate in commercial locations, commercial kitchens, property owners to obtain short-term business licenses to host retail and food entrepreneurs. Presentation outline, pop-up retail and food establishment user license types, pop-up user license applications and CDPH requirements, pop-up food establishment host license types, pop-up host license applications, DDPH requirements, summary of licenses and how to apply, and then Q&A session. Pop-up user license types. We have the pop-up retail user, the pop-up food establishment user tier 1, pop-up food establishment user tier 2, pop-up food establishment user tier 3. Pop-up user licenses. A pop-up retail user, formerly known as the itinerant merchant, it's any business or individual who occupies or leases for 1 year or less a fixed indoor retail space for the sale of merchandise or provision of services, including but not limited to seasonal stores, estate sales, trade shows, or exhibitions, or occupies or lease for 1 year or less a fixed outdoor retail space for the sale of merchandise or provisions of service, including but not limited to pumpkin patches and Christmas tree lots, or organizes or sponsors a trade show or an exhibition. As you can see, there's different type of license terms and fees. So what is the pop-up food establishment user tier 1? The holder of a tier 1 license is entitled to sell or offer non-perishable food only that it's commercially prepackaged in a properly licensed establishment. On-site food preparation or on-site dining is not allowed under a tier 1 license. May pop up in any non-manufacturing and non-residential locations. Again, these are the license fees you see here. We have 5 day for $25, 30 days, $50, 90 days, 75, 180, 180 days for 100, and 1 year for 150. Shared kitchen user business license holders are exempt, meaning they do not require to get a license if they want to pop in. They just the individual needs to let us know so we can update their business activity and their license. A pop-up establishment user tier 2. In addition to selling and serving food authorized under a tier 1 license, the holder of a tier 2 license is entitled to sell or serve any combination perishable, non-perishable, hot or cold prepackaged food only that has been prepared, packaged, and stored offsite at a licensed shared kitchen or shared kitchen is supplemental. Final on-site preparation involving minimal assembly only of such prepackaged food is allowed. On-site dining is allowed under a tier 2 license. May pop in a licensed establishment holding a tier 2 or tier 3 pop-up establishment host license, or retail food with a shared kitchen supplemental license or a shared kitchen operator license. Again, I want to reiterate, shared kitchen user licensee does not need a pop-up license to pop in. The individual holding that shared kitchen needs to come in and talk to a business consultant so we can add that activity to their license. Pop-up user establishment user tier 3. In addition to selling or serving food authorized under a tier 1 and tier 2 license, the holder of a tier 3 license is entitled to sell or serve perishable, non-perishable, hot and cold food prepared on site at the pop-up establishment. So basically, this is your full service restaurant. The holder of a tier 3 license is authorized to operate a full service restaurant. On-site dining is allowed under a tier 3 license. May pop in a licensed establishment holding a tier 3 pop-up establishment host license or retail food with a shared kitchen supplemental license or shared kitchen operator license. Shared kitchen user and retail food establishment licensee or licensees holders are exempt. So again, just come on in, talk to one of our business consultants so we can add that activity to their current business license. These are the license fees. A 5 day is $50, 30 days $100, 90 days is $150. License application requirements for pop-up users. Must come in and complete a business information sheet. We'll need, the applicant's full name, residence address, business address, email, telephone numbers, and date of birth, social security numbers, government issue ID, business ID numbers. If you have federal employee identification number, state of Illinois file number for a legal entity, and the Illinois Department of Revenue account number, or formerly known as the IBT number. Um, debt, any city debt must be resolved prior to the issuance or renewal of any license, business license in the city of Chicago. Um, zoning, a review and approval from zoning unit is not required. Pop-up user is authorized throughout the duration of the license term to change the location of the premises where the licensed pop-up user operates without having to obtain a separate user license. Just want to clarify, if the individual is popping up in two or more locations at the same time, then a license, a pop-up license will be needed if that's the case. Pop-up food establishment user, CDPH requirements. So health is going to require a statement of intent, a written statement signed by the owner or operator of the initial licensed pop-up host that the applicant uses or intends to use. The statement of intent must contain the following: the name and address of the pop-up host, the pop-up host license number, a written authorization signed by the owner or operator of the shared kitchen stating that the applicant for the pop-up user license has been authorized by such owner to operate or operator to rent, lease, or utilize kitchen space as such pop-up host. The start date, if any, the end date to which such authorization applies. As part of the application process, the health consultation. As part of the application process, the license applicant must meet with the health sanitarian at BACP to review the applicant's proposed business practices, use of pop-up hosts, as well as equipment and food safety operations such host location. Health consultation include a review of the following: the shared kitchen user badge, if applicable, the menu, including all future items, and equipment to be provided. Applicant must provide a valid City of Chicago food manager certificate if required by food preparation activities. Periodic inspections, pop-up users are not themselves subject to periodic inspections. However, a pop-up user may be inspected while CDPH is conducting a periodic inspection of the pop-up host. An inspection in response to any complaint made against the pop-up host or other user of the pop-up host, or an inspection as part of the investigation of a suspect food poisoning linked to a pop-up host or pop-up user. Pop-up food establishment user duties. A pop-up user must conform to the menu and equipment approved by the Department of Health. Prior to adding any new food item or equipment, a pop-up user must first obtain approval from the Department of Health. Pop-up user must provide a copy of the updated menu approved by the Department of Health, any written permission obtained from the Department of Health to the pop-up host and or shared kitchen owner operator at which the pop-up user engages the business of a pop-up user. Comply with all safety requirements in the city ordinance and conform to any operational practice required or approved by the Department of Health. Have on site at the pop-up host a person who holds a current sanitation certificate issued by the Department of Health. And upon request by any authorized city official, the pop-up user must make such certificate immediately available for the inspection. Have the City of Chicago issue pop-up user license on site at all times. When the pop-up user is utilizing the pop-up host, upon request by any authorized city official, the pop-up user must make such license immediately available for inspection. Keep and maintain on file or otherwise make available the record keeper information as required in the ordinance, it's 4-8-04 4, F6 of the city ordinance. Prohibited activities for pop-up users. Restrictions for pop-up users. Engaging in the business of selling liquor or tobacco, operating in public place of amusement, or providing services such by the city or state is prohibited. Pop-up user does not allow for any business activity requires one or more specific licenses issued by BACP. Additional restrictions for pop-up food establishment users. Tier 2 and Tier 3, pop-up user may not operate at the same location for a period in excess of 90 days within any 365 days. Many may not cater food from the licensed pop-up food establishment location. May not operate a pop-up food establishment in any non-stationary structure or vehicle of any type, whether mobile or non-mobile, or a building or portion thereof that is unsafe or unsuitable for use as a Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3 pop-up food establishment. May not operate a pop-up food establishment in a private home or any room used as a sleeping or living quarters. Pop-up user recording requirements. A pop-up food establishment user licensees must keep and maintain a written record containing the following information about each pop-up location utilized: the address of the premises, the name of the owner or lessee of the premises, the dates and times of operation of the pop-up food establishment at the premises, a copy of all agreements which shall be in writing, entered into by the licensee with the owner or lessee of the premises where the pop-up food establishment is operating, including the effective date and, if any, the termination date of any such agreement. If the licensee discontinues and terminates or otherwise withdraws from any such agreement, a record of the date of which such act occur. If the licensee operates a Tier 3 pop-up food establishment at the premises, the name of the person holding a valid City of Chicago food sanitation certificate issued by the Department of Public Health during the applicable period of operation at such premises. Pop-up license types. Pop-up host license types. A pop-up food establishment host Tier 2 and a pop-up food establishment host Tier 3. Pop-up food establishment host Tier 2. The holder of a Tier 2 host license is authorized to allow pop-up food establishment user Tier 1 and Tier 2 license holders to operate at the licensed location. Persons holding a Tier 2 pop-up food establishment host license must equip the licensed premises or ensure that the pop-up food establishment user equips the licensed premises with a hand sink, which may be portable, and sufficient temperature control equipment to ensure the safety of heated or refrigerated foods. Such equipment must conform to the Department of Health Food Code rules governing hand sinks and time/temperature control equipment. Must ensure that no Tier 2 pop-up food establishment user licensee operates at the licensed host location for a period in excess of 90 days within a 365-day period. Shared kitchen operators and shared kitchen supplemental in conjunction with a retail food license are exempt from obtaining a pop-up food establishment host license. The license fee for 1 year is $150. Pop-up food establishment host Tier 3. The holder of a Tier 3 host license is authorized to allow pop-up food establishment Tier 1, 2, and 3 license holders to operate at the licensed location. Persons holding a Tier 3 host license must equip their licensed premises to ensure that the pop-up food establishment user equips the licensed premises with all equipment required in restaurants in conformity with the Department of Health Food Code rules. Must ensure that no Tier 2 or Tier 3 pop-up food establishment user licensee operates at the licensed host location for a period of excess of 90 days within a 365 days period. Again, shared kitchen operator and shared kitchen supplemental who holds a valid retail food license are exempt from obtaining a pop-up food establishment host tier 3 license. The license fee for the tier 3 is for 1 year, $330. The license application requirements for a pop-up, they will have to come in, complete a business information sheet, providing personal information of the business owners, provide a government issue ID that it's active, um, provide business ID numbers for the employee verification number, if any, state of Illinois fund number for their legal entity, if any, and and Illinois Department of Revenue account ID number if they have one. Again, we would not issue a license if the individual has any city debt, which needs to be clear in order to issue or renew any business license in the city of Chicago. Um, Zoning, the business location address provided in the license application will require review and approval from the zoning unit at a small business center for pop-up food establishment host license types. Pop-up establishment host license exceptions. License exception. No person may engage in the business of a pop-up food establishment host without first having obtained a pop-up food establishment host license. However, a pop-up food establishment host license is not required if the owner or lessee of the building or premises housing the pop-up food establishment holder holds either a valid shared kitchen operator license, a valid retail food establishment license, and shared kitchen supplemental license, or the owner or lessee of the building or premises housing the pop-up food establishment only allows tier 1 pop-up food establishment users to operate in such building or premises. The premises are a private the premises are in a private residence and the occupant hires a chef to prepare or serve food within that residence for the occupation own consumption or for the consumption by the occupant's invited guests. Pop-up food establishment hosts CDPH requirements. Um, Tier types, tier 1 must equip or ensure user equips premises with a hand sink, sufficient time temperature control equipment for heated and refrigerated foods. A tier 3 must equip or ensure user equips premises with all equipment required in restaurants in conformity with the Department of Health code rules. Health consultation. As part of the application process, the licensed applicant must meet with the health sanitarian at the small business center to review proposed business practices, equipment, and food safety operations. The health consultation includes a review of the facility, the floor plan, including restrooms, provide equipment list, pest control, garbage removal. On-site inspections, all Tier 3 hosts must be inspected prior to operating. Tier 2 may require inspection prior to operating. Additionally, the Department of Public Health may inspect a pop-up host location in response to any complaint. Pop-up food establishment host duties. Ensure that any person engaged in the business of a pop-up user on the licensed premises is in compliance with all equipment and food safety requirements in the city ordinance. Pop-up host licensee and applicable pop-up user are jointly and severely liable for any violation of their requirements. Ensure that any person engaged in the business of a pop-up user on the licensed premises is properly licensed with the city of Chicago. Keep and maintain on file or otherwise make immediately available on the licensed premises the record keeping information as required in 4-8-045 G3 of the city ordinance. Provide access for inspection by the Department of Health or any other authorized city official to all locked equipment located in any storage area maintained by the shared kitchen licensee and used or made available for the use of by any pop-up user. Ensure that at any given time, the number of pop-up users preparing food in the pop-up host space does not pose a health or safety risk. Notify CDPH prior to adding/changing equipment provided on site. Pop-up host recording requirements. The licensee must keep and maintain written records containing the following information: a list of all pop-up food establishment users operating at the licensed host location and their contact information. For each user, a copy of their menu approved by the Department of Health for use by the user at the licensed location. A list setting forth the dates and times each user operated at the licensed location. If a Tier 3 pop-up food establishment user operates at the licensed location, the name of the persons holding a valid City of Chicago food service sanitation certificate issued by the Department of Health. A copy of all agreements entered by the pop-up food establishment host with each pop-up establishment user, including the effective date and termination date of each agreement. If the pop-up food establishment user discontinues and terminates or otherwise withdraws from any contract or agreement with the pop-up food establishment host or otherwise indicates his or her intent to stop operating at the host licensed location, a record of the date on which such act occurred. Summary of a pop-up user license. Um, Pop-up retail user is sell merchandise at a fixed indoor or outdoor space, may pop in any non-manufacturing, non-residential locations. The license fees appear as such. Pop-up food establishment user tier one, sale of non-perishable food, only that is commercially prepackaged in a properly licensed establishment. These are basically if you're selling your cookies that are, you buy them at the wholesaler, prepackaged. Um, those are the items you can sell: pop, chips, candy, or other food items. May pop in any non-manufacturer, non-residential locations. Again, these are the license fees. These two, the pop-up retail user and pop-up food establishment user, do not have that 90-day restriction in a 1 year period. They can pop in for 1 year if they wish to. Now moving on to the pop-up food establishment user tier two, the sell perishable, non-perishable, hot or cold prepackaged food only that has been prepared, packaged, and stored offsite. May pop in a licensed establishment holding a tier two or tier three pop-up establishment host license, or retail food with a shared kitchen supplemental license or shared kitchen operator license. Again, here you can see the license fees. Remember these, the pop-up tier two and three um, food establishment users do have that 90-day um, restriction. So only can operate at any such location for 90 days in a 1 year or 365-year time period. Moving on to the pop-up food establishment tier three is a sale of perishable, non-perishable, hot and cold food preparation on site at the pop-up food establishment. May operate as a full-service restaurant. Again, may pop in a licensed establishment holding a tier three pop-up establishment host license, or retail food with a shared kitchen supplemental license or shared kitchen operator license. Summary of the pop-up host licenses. Pop-up retail users and pop-up food establishment user tier one, no business license is needed. Must be a non-manufacturing, non-residential locations. Uh, Pop-up food establishment host tier two may rent, lease, or otherwise make space available to pop-up food establishment user tier one and tier two license holders. Must equip the licensed premises or such, or ensure that the pop-up food establishment user equips the licensed premises with equipment that conforms to the Department of Health Food Code rules governing handlings and temperature control equipment. Must ensure that no Tier 2 pop-up food establishment user licensee operates at the licensed hostess location for a period in excess of 90 days within any 365-day period. The 1-year license is 150. Pop-up food establishment host Tier 3 may rent, lease, or otherwise make space available for two pop-up food establishment user Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3 license holders. Must equip the licensed premises, so ensure that the pop-up food establishment user equips the licensed premises with all equipment required in restaurants in conformity with the Department of Health code, food code rules. Must ensure that no Tier 2 or Tier 3 pop-up food establishment user licensee operates the licensed host location for a period in excess of 90 days within any 365-day period. The license fee is for 1 year, $330. Where do you apply? You may apply in person. We are open to the public here at the Small Business Center located at City Hall, 121 North LaSalle um, Street, room 800. Applications intake hours are from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Monday through Friday, except holidays. Appointments are recommended, but at this time, due to shortage of staff, we're not making appointments. My best recommendation is to get there at 8:30 in the morning, so we can process your application. Currently, health department has reduced hours of operation at the small business center. So Miss Anna Nelson, the health supervisor, she's there on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 8:30 to 4:30. I do recommend, encourage everyone to come early as possible. That way you can have your consultation with Miss Nelson if needed. There's some additional resources in our website, so please make sure you go to our City of Chicago Business Affairs and Consumer Protection website and find these additional resources available to the public.
Hi, Esau. This is Stella. I'm going to assist you with some of these questions that are in the chat.
Okay.
First question, does BACP have a resource list of shared kitchens available in Chicago?
There's a list which it's available to the public. It's through the City of Chicago data portal. We do not recommend any location in particular, but if you go search the data portal, search by either shared kitchen or shared kitchen supplemental, you'll find all the licensed establishments in the City of Chicago.
Can you please provide the sources to obtain a food sanitation manager license certificate?
Most likely, if you go to the Chicago Department of Public Health website, you will find a list of our providers. If you come to the Small Business Center, we have a list that the Department of Public Health gives us to give out to the public.
For an art fair, is each participant required to get a retail pop-up user license, or is the coordinator of the fair responsible as the host?
Can you repeat the question one more time, please?
Yep, no problem. For an art fair, is each participant required to get a retail pop-up user license, or is the coordinator of the fair responsible?
So the coordinator of the fair will need to get a host license, and then each individual will need to get a pop-up user license. Retail license, sorry, pop-up retail license.
Is there a list of places to get a sanitation license necessary for tier 2 and tier 3?
If you go again to the City of Chicago website, look up the Chicago Department of Public Health, they should have a list on their website. If not, if you come to the Small Business Center, we have a list that the Department of Health gave us for all instructors that are approved by the Health Department to provide such course.
I have a bakery and I would like to make it a pop-up market, but the vendors would not sell food, only crafts. What kind of license do I need?
The bakery license holder does not need a license to allow individuals to pop in to sell general merchandise inside their location.
What about service of alcohol in a pop-up? Is this allowed?
Alcohol is not allowed.
Is there a list of participating hosts?
Again, if you go to our data portal, City of Chicago data portal, you will find all licensed um, food status or pop-up host license holders on our website that have current licenses.
Is this only pertaining to food businesses? I'm sorry, it's moving. Let me go back to it. Is this only pertaining to food businesses? I have a life and parent coaching business which offers services, and I often host vendor events.
It's mainly for individuals doing retail uh, sales of merchandise or um, doing selling food. If there such services that the individual explained would not be allowed under or would not need required to get a pop-up license, they would need to get um, a business license for their actual location. If they provide medical services such as psychiatry or any other medical um, services, the city of Chicago does not license that activity. They will have to be in compliance with IDFPR.
Mm. Using an already established venue space for a pop-up is a license still required to host a pop-up.
So I just want to make it clear. Our pop-up license does not include private events, locations where public place and amusement services or are provided to the public. Um, if the location has a pop-up host license, then they can provide such services or rent their space to individuals that want to pop in, as long as those individual has the proper license.
I host pop-up shops, retail, and food. Which license do I need?
Depending the what kind of host license you have, or the individuals popping in, what are they going to be selling? If they're selling food, that's a tier two where all the food is prepared at a licensed shared kitchen, retail food establishment. Then a pop-up host tier two license will be needed. If individual are cooking on site, uh, then the person holding or renting the space out will need a host tier three license.
Is obtaining the license mandatory?
Yes, any business in the city of Chicago must obtain a business license.
I've seen various pop-ups around the city. What happens when a location does not have their pop-up host license?
Most likely will be inspected by investigators and citations will be issued to the individual hosting uh, the uh, the pop-ups and the individuals. If they're not licensed, they're popping in, they will also get a citation.
What is needed in the body of a letter of intent from an approved shared kitchen provider?
Let me go back to that slide. So here's the slide which states the statement of intent. Um, so it has to be a written statement signed by the owner or operator of the initial license pop-up host that the applicant uses or intends to use. The statements of intent must contain the following: the name and address of the pop-up host, the pop-up host license number, a written authorization signed by the owner or operator of the shared kitchen stating the applicants for the pop-up user license has been authorized by such owner or operator to rent, lease, or utilize kitchen space as such pop-up host. The start date, if any, and the end date to which such authorization applies.
Mm, can you pop up near a food establishment? Are there any restrictions in place similar to food trucks where you must be a certain number of feet from the restaurant?
No, pop-ups do not have a location restriction from other retail food establishment or other pop-up locations.
Does the pop-up license apply to street fairs and farmers markets?
Street fairs and farmers markets are will have to go through the Department of Cultural and Special Events to obtain the proper permit slash license to participate.
Is there a limit to the number of events you can have based on the pop-up license fee?
There's no limit of how many events, but um, let me retract a little bit. If a pop-up user, retail food establishment user tier 2 and tier 3 can only be in any location for a period of 90 days in a 365-day period. Um, a tier pop-up retail user and a tier 1 can be at any location for 1 year. Um, and they will have to apply for a new license. There's no, if you're uh, participating or popping in multiple locations at the same time, then additional license will be needed. Person having one pop-up license can pop in at one location at a time, not including simultaneously locations.
Mm, okay, wait. If I rent a space, the location must be the host license, and I have to obtain one as well.
Depending on what the individual that is planning to rent the space, what they're going to be allowing as pop-ups, um, they might need a license. Um, so I always recommend before anyone signs a lease or commits to any space to come in and talk to us. Um, depending, just get the correct address, the square feet of the location, and we don't charge any fees up front. License fees only paid at the end once the individual is ready to complete their application and pay for the license. So it's extremely important. Never sign a lease. Come talk to us. Consultations are free, and we will walk you through, check with zoning to make sure that location has a proper zoning and there's no other issues with that location. Like, sometimes Department of Buildings comes out and issues a emergency closure order. So that means that no one can operate from that location until such order is lifted. So again, please come in, talk to us. We're open every day, Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 4:30, except holidays, and we provide free business license consultations.
What is the deadline to get licensed?
Well, a business license is needed before um, and the individual starts operating their license. If you're talking about going through public events, please check with them. They have their own timelines that individuals must meet.
Hmm. Our team averages 5 to 10 events a week. Do we truly need a license for every event or an annual one?
So just want to make sure that when they say event, it's not like they're providing like entertainment to the public or private parties. Our license does not, a pop-up license is not meant for that activity. If the individual rents a space out and their sole purpose is to rent to other pop-up users, then they need to come in and apply for a pop-up organizer license. And let me clarify, if the property owner leases directly to a pop-up retail user or pop-up tier one um, individual, they do not need a license as the property owner to rent their space out.
Good morning. Esau, there are questions in here, but they're basically the same questions.
Again, I
There's some
want, I'm gonna,
questions about liquor. So maybe we can talk about, maybe you can talk about that a little bit. Like, they're saying, so liquor cannot be sold under the pop-up license, under the pop-up license at all, even if you have a certificate. Correct? Is that how this goes? That's what they're asking.
well, pop-up licensee cannot sell liquor, period, at all. If they're trying to pop into an establishment that has a retail food with supplemental share kitchen user license plus a consumption on premises liquor license, that that business that's already allowing people to pop in and have a liquor license, they can sell their liquor under their business, but the pop-up user cannot sell liquor, period.
Pop-up user cannot sell liquor,
Correct.
and but if they're in an establishment that already has a license to do so, that establishment can sell the liquor to their attendees. Correct?
Correct.
Okay.
But you have to make sure that they're still selling their food also. Sometimes there's restrictions where it's a restaurant with liquor. They cannot strictly just sell liquor. They have to continue to open their kitchen and sell food to the public.
Oh, it's jumping around. Wait a minute. Every time someone puts in something new, it jumps. How does this apply to the cottage food license? I was told we needed this as well.
I recommend to come in to the Small Business Center either Tuesdays and Thursdays when the health department, um, the supervisor from the health department is in their office, and we can speak to them directly. Again, the cottage law individuals must be registered with the Department of Public Health. So I'm not the expert in the subject. So since we are going to have the health department in our office, it's best to talk to them directly to make sure that whatever the individual is doing under their registration with the health department is covered, and or if any additional licenses will be needed.
Can you talk more about, now I'm in the Q&A box, can you talk more about retail? We host pop-up vendor markets in parking lots throughout the city. Includes resellers, thrift, God, it's jumping, thrift items, or resale of personal items such as craft or business services. So they just want to know more about the retail pop-up license.
So again, if the owner of the property is allowing people to pop in retail uh, users, um, retail pop-up retailers, or I want to say pop-up tier one, then that individual, the owner, does not need a license. If the someone like myself rents out a space to in my business activities, mainly to be the organizer of such pop-ups, then I would need a license as the organizer. And each individual popping in will need a license for their own business. Those individuals that are popping in mainly have to, there's some restrictions. We have different licenses in the city of Chicago. If they're selling like children's items under the age of 8, I believe, or any type of used electronics, um, used bicycles, uh, CDs, DVDs, um, and what else? Any sports equipment, bicycles, they require those individuals selling those items. They need to get a secondhand dealer license, and that license only issued from a actual brick and mortar location. It's not mobile, so they will. Those items are not allowed in a pop-up location.
Can you talk more about pop-up organizer license?
So again, if I am the individual that my sole purpose is to create these pop-up um, locations or events where I'm gonna rent the space out to other pop-up users, I will need a license as the organizer. Um, so it's always best before they commit to any space to come in and talk to us and to make sure that we understand what they're who are they planning to rent their space to. Again, as an organizer or a pop-up host licensee, they are not allowed to have any type of private events or any type of place of amusement. The term pop-up has been used too broad, and people think because they say pop-up, they can do anything they want. No, there's restrictions in the city of Chicago, and that is why we want people to come in and talk to us to make sure that whatever they want to do, they will obtain the proper license to do so, and do not sign a lease or commit to any a location until you come and talk to us and formally apply for a license, and are told that that activity will be allowed.
Is the organizer responsible to make sure that all of the vendors have their license?
Yes, the organizer is responsible to make sure all pop-up users have the proper license from the city of Chicago to pop in.
I have a massage business and I would like to do fully closed sessions and chair massages with a pop-up. What are the restrictions, if any?
That activity is highly regulated in the city of Chicago, of massage activity from a zoning perspective. So that activity will not be allowed. Those any type really of services is not allowed under a pop-up license.
Okay, we have time for like two more questions. As an organizer, am I able to obtain license for each of my retailers rather than have them go get their own?
I want to say that have the pop-up users come in and apply for their own license, because the during the license application, the application itself must be signed by one of the owners of the or for that pop-up license. So an organizer cannot sign off on behalf of the pop-up licensee. So the licensee, the pop-up licensee must come in person to apply for the license and complete the application, sign for it, and pay for it.
Okay, and Esau, I still keep seeing questions regarding liquor and renting of space. Can you explain that one more time?
So in the city of Chicago, there's a license for sales of liquor, either for consumption on premises or like a liquor store. It's its own license that must be applied for. There's zoning restrictions, there's license restrictions. So a pop-up individual, a pop-up user, pop-up food establishment licensee cannot sell liquor. The host will, I recommend that they come in to make sure that we understand what they're doing and they speak to a hospitality consultant. Um, that's the unit that license all liquor establishments in the city of Chicago. Again, a pop-up location cannot allow no private parties at all. That is not within the scope of this license or allow any type of public amusements. That there's a specific license in the city of Chicago called public place amusement license. So again, please come in, talk to a hospitality consultant if they want to know more information about the sale of liquor or providing any type of um, space for private or public gatherings.
And can you please go to your contact page? That's the
The last one.
so we're at time.
So here's our contact information. Again, we're open Monday through Friday from 8:30 to 4:30. We're located at City Hall, 121 North LaSalle, room 800. You can call our Go Biz number. Their number is 312-744 um, 6249 or 312-74 Go Biz. Um, if you have some questions, the call center might be able to answer some questions. If not, they'll send an email to a supervisor um, for us to contact the individual and answer any questions they might have. But again, please come on in, talk to us. We don't charge anything up front. License applications, there's no fee to start the application, only at the end when the individual is ready to complete their license application. Do not commit to any location, sign a lease, give your security deposit because the landlord will tell you anything to get you to sign that lease. And then when you go in to apply, you will be told that there's issues at that address or your activity is not permitted. And then you're on the hook for a lease. So please don't sign anything. Please come in and talk to us. Bring the address, the square feet of the facility, talk to a consultant, let us know what you want to do at that location, and so we can determine the appropriate license and whether or not the activity will be allowed. The consultant will talk to my unit. I oversee the zoning unit in the small business center, and we will see whether or not the activity has a proper zone or that the business trying to do any specific activity has a proper zoning district that allows it or not.
All right, Esau, thank you for today's presentation. We had a lot of questions, a lot of them that we really couldn't get to because we're strapped for time. If you have questions or you have a specific case, circumstance regarding your business or your pop-up, if you own your own business and you want to host pop-ups, I would suggest, just like Esau said, come into our small business center Monday through Friday from 8:30 to 4:30 and speak with someone. Um, I will tell you that that business is very busy. So when you come, that office is very busy. So please get here at 8:30 so that you can get in and get out. Our business consultants are very thorough and they are here to help you with your business endeavors. To find out about more about upcoming webinars, please go to chicago.gov/business education. Again, that is chicago.gov/business education. And all things related to BACP, please visit chicago.gov/BACP. Again, that is chicago.gov BACP. We are also hosting a free remote small business expo scheduled for Thursday, May 5th. And you can register for that by visiting chicago.gov/biz expo. That's BIZ expo. Thank you. Have a great weekend. Thanks, Esau.
Thank you. Take care.